on my way down to Blaxland Glenbrook. There's a hotel down there that my mates and I used to always go to for the pool comp and happy hour during year 12, called the Lapston Hotel. And a mate of mine from school is now a teacher over in Asia, and I'm sorry Adam, I can't remember exactly which country, but he's living over there and he's on holidays here at the moment, and tried to arrange a get-together of friends from school. Be cool to see a few people that I haven't seen in years and years and years. Spent the morning chopping out bamboo, and I brought home some stuff to try and build a cover on the landing, but I've still got to buy some things as well. I could probably start prepping some of that. My wife does want me to. I'll run down into Bunnings after this in Penrith, because my wife has an order elsewhere in another store that will be ready for me to pick up. The last time I saw some of these people was the 20-year high school reunion. Next year will be 30 years since we graduated. I feel old. Oh, that was a good catch-up. There was only like 9 to a dozen people, and because it was kind of organised by Adam, there was some people that came down that like friends of his that weren't actually from school, but there was a few of my mates from school, the group that I hung out with, so it was good to have that catch up, see how people were and that sort of thing. And it was good that it was just like it wasn't like a big deal, like organising a giant reunion type thing. It was just, I'm going to be at the pub at 11 if anybody else wants to come down, and that's basically what happened. A group of people just sort of turned up who were local. One guy, Matt, he drove down from the Central Coast. I'm glad Adam's got a really good knack for faces and names, because when I rocked up I was looking for him. That was the only one I think I could recognise, and there's a few of the other names were saying, oh yes, I remember you. Yeah, 30 years. And it's Vietnam that Adam lives in. He teaches English over there. He's doing a great job too. Railings and panelling is today's job for there. I really hope I haven't gotten rid of all my hardwood. Hey there, fella. Come to see what the ruckus is out here again. None of that's hardwood, so I'll try and stay away from it here. workshop area has been fairly productive. It's good to get the tools out again. And see up the top, little fencing done on the landing. Bit safer for the dogs, a little bit more secure as a front of the house area. I'll show you from the outside. So from the outside you see basically the slats a bit more, and then that's the front one. Got to do a bit more refinishing to it, but it was not a bad job considering I wasn't sure if I had the material, because I brought material home to start it on the roof to just try and stop that leaking. But my wife wanted this done first, so, and yeah, I had a bit of a whinge about it, but I'm glad I did it. It's nice and secure. The hardwood was basically a hardwood sleeper. This one especially that I cut in half. And the one at the front was a leftover bit from when I was doing the retaining wall over that side. So it's one of the reasons why I like to sort of hang on to things and have stuff around, because I'm going to get them used, get use out of them. The one thing left to do with this, I'm going to put like a cup rail around the top out of just one of the decking boards, which I think I have left over. I did that on the landings on the decks, but it's those were treated pine ones that I stained, but I think it'd be nicer just to have it as a mobile. Pack up everything, clean the dust out. It's 10 to 8. Just looking at this from the landing, and that actually looks pretty good. I just got to do the cover over the top, but my wife wants me to get asphalt tiles for the top, because a metal roof there would be very loud. So that was Sunday basically. Might have actually gotten the roof started if I did some stuff on this yesterday instead of going to the get together, but I guess the get together is like a one in whenever opportunity. Catch up with old schoolmates after 30 years. That looks good, and I think my little dogs won't be so scared about going out on the landing now, because they get a bit freaked out on the decks because there's a bit bigger gap on the under their feet. I've got to go into the city tomorrow for HSC riding. Bit of good news. Trains are running again, so I can catch the train from Woodford instead of having to drive it down to Springwood. Makes for a much more comfortable and less stressful ride.
Because people were saying like, yes, I have 2 days off because like these things. Okay, good. Because then I don't have to Wednesday on Thursday.
This interesting position, brought to you by the fact that I can't seem to get my phone mount to sit without bouncing like crazy, apart from like that. So I just needed to get this out of my head right now. So riding was done yesterday in the city, back at work today. First time trying out my year 11 class outside the workshop. There were stacks and stacks and stacks of scrap steel that I started going through and getting money for, but there was just way more there. Like when I was asked if I wanted to get the scrap steel from these workers redoing the guttering in the school, I said, yeah, that'd be great. I didn't realise they were doing the whole school. The pile got so large, and then they started throwing other metal and stuff in there, and it just became way too much for me to manage with the trailer that I've got. The GA got a mate in he had a car trailer, and they said it took him 6 trailer loads to get rid of with a full length car trailer, so that's how much it was there. My safety cage fencing that I use at the school with construction had been set up around all of that steel, and I couldn't use it for anything else. So that was finally back into availability. Because this was the very first time getting year 11, I got them in their gear, safety vests, got them all together, explained what we needed to do, said where we were going, what they had to try and do, and being that very first time, we were successful in getting the stuff back up to the compound, in the sense that it got from where it was back to the compound. But the way they worked, in terms of working very cooperatively and safely, and well, they weren't too stupid, but they weren't dangerous, but they just could have been better in the way that they carried things and where they put it when it was put back in the compound. Anyway, that was an excellent test for the very first thing, which wasn't affecting the rest of the school, so that's why it was a really good test, because we were out in the car park area. And then I had one last prac lesson with the timber class, and I told them that our afternoons class was going to be our first one, getting back in and doing our folio work. And one of them, they actually asked me that beforehand, when we were going to start working on the folio. And then in the afternoon class, in there, getting them started on their folio. So it's really hard to explain to these kids what a folio is asking and how to write a good folio without giving them answer, because you want the information to be theirs. What is it that you want to make? Where does it need to go? Why do you want it? That's the sort of stuff that starts the folio. I got an email yesterday from the administrators of a group of schools in Southern California that I had applied for about 8 or 9 positions at, because there was a whole gamut of positions that they had available that I was qualified for. So I threw in applications on all of them. It was pretty sad that I didn't get any of them. But I got an email today telling me that they put an expiry date on applications, in terms of you can put in an application and they'll hold it on file in case other positions come up. They said that those applications were coming up to expiry, so if I wanted to look at what they had available again, I could put in some fresh applications. I had a quick look and there were 3 positions that I could go for, so I'm going to be putting in for those. And then this morning I got an email from the school in British Columbia that I'd put an application in for, saying that unfortunately I wasn't successful in getting shortlisted for their interviews, but that they were keeping my application on file as well. Now that was the interesting one, because in their application process they actually said that they would only be contacting people who were successful at getting through to interview. So I'm quite curious as to whether they said, this guy has all the qualifications and criteria that we want, but he's in Australia, but we don't want to let that applicant go completely. So obviously if there's applicants that are closer by, there's more of a likelihood of the person being able to jump at the job. But it was an application that was open to international applicants. So but it's good and bad news. Bad news that I didn't make it through to interview, but good news that I was actually told that I didn't make it through to interview. I wasn't just hanging there, because I was beginning to wonder. I'll jump on and have a look at what else is there. Like I said, this one in Southern California, there's a couple of positions there I can apply for. So I'll get some applications together. I'll find the ones I had before for the similar positions, I think, and then just add any more stuff that I've had, because I put those applications in 12 months ago. STEM engineering teaching. That was just bouncing around in my head, and I needed to get that out. These shop updates are a little bit of a diary of thoughts, and it helps me to get my thoughts sorted. So if you like hearing my thoughts, thanks for hanging around. Greatly appreciated. Truck's getting the tow bar tomorrow. Got to drop it off first thing in the morning. But that'll be good news, because then I can now get rid of the stuff that's in the trailer and start using the trailer again. Be good to have a good tow vehicle, because this has a towing capacity that's 2.5 times the amount that the Suzuki had. That is normally a full trolley load. That's what's there. That was my quick trip to Costco. I actually went in and bought food and water. The place was sold out of toilet paper because of the coronavirus. My wife was keeping me informed of developments on the news with regard to COVID-19, coronavirus. The Australian government had enacted a pandemic announcement, and therefore Scott Morrison put that into effect, meaning that businesses, schools, government agencies, all that sort of stuff could get closed down if need be. And it seemed that a lot of basic necessities were going to become very scarce. And we started seeing photos of shopping centres with the toilet paper aisle empty. And it seems rice, pasta and toilet paper were the big things that were being snagged up. And everywhere seemed to be that way. And we just wanted to try and stock up on stuff. It was just like, can you go shopping tomorrow night? Try and pick up some stuff. Get coffee. Yes, we wanted rice, artichoke hearts, bagels, that sort of stuff. I got the last 2 packs of bagels, which was weird. Two bits of news. My faculty wanted to really get high on the hygiene this year. I mean, the cooking teachers are already doing it, and all the other teachers, we've all said we're trying to look after our hygiene. We're trying to reduce the days off sick because of catching things, because you're around so many people and so much germs. Everybody's hands are on everything, and we're looking into that. And then COVID-19 hit, and all of a sudden everybody's even more concerned. We are in an area that's constant in and out of people. So I wanted to get hand sanitizer dispensers for all the rooms so the kids can clean their hands before going in, so they're not putting germs from the playground onto the tools or into the kitchens and that sort of stuff. Get onto the government supplies, and most of the stuff is sold out. Obviously, understandably, but I did manage to find a automated dispenser that was in stock in one of the suppliers, and they actually had the hand sanitizer to go in it in stock as well. Said it should be here within the week. And just after getting that done, phone rings. It's the person from our maintenance for the school contract. He finally chased up our descender for the junior room. It got damaged over a year ago, and then became almost unusable last year. So we started going through the process of trying to get it replaced. The principal gave the okay to just buy a new one, so he went through that whole process. Have to draw up the plans of the room and show that there's still room for 22 students minimum, that sort of thing. And we got it all done, and as soon as we put it through, we got a letter saying, or an email,
saying, oh, the replacement was actually approved at the government's expense, not ours. And we thought, excellent, so they're going to just replace it on contract. And it was approved in April of last year. We were doing the order in June or July. Oh, it would have been nice to have known that. And I've been constantly chasing them up. So I just got this phone call, the guy who I've been ringing every second day the last couple of weeks. He finally chased it up and he said it was in the supplier's issue. He's finally got it sorted and the purchase order should go through and we should have it installed within the next few weeks. That will make some of my staff happy because it was out of the junior workshop, the year 7 and 8s. Haven't been able to use a descender. That's good news. That's one less thing on my mind because I have been ringing this maintenance crowd daily. And he said, yeah, I'd completely forgotten about it, especially over the Christmas break. And then with all the storms and they're fixing up all the schools, he said, I'd forgotten about it until I started getting all your voicemails. So it was worth it. He's very apologetic. He'll be in touch when he gets a firm date on when they're going to do it. Anyway, and it's Fun Share Friday. That's another. I'll get on with my administration for the end of the week. Learned that trick from our print lady a couple of years ago. I'm out on Monday and I didn't have enough of these theory booklets for my class. And I worked out how to do the double-sided booklet copying on the photocopier, but don't have a really long reach stapler. And that's a neat little trick so that our students tend to look after stuff if it's in a booklet form rather than just loose sheets. And they take a bit more pride in the work. It's great.